Welcome back to Overtime Live Sports Bet Radio. I'm your host, B. Young, here on a solo mission. It's Saturday morning. We're just getting ready for these divisional games, trying to get some tips and tricks in there to try to make some money this weekend. We got a full slate of games this weekend, 2 today and 2 tomorrow. They're going to kick off today's games with the Minnesota Vikings against the San Francisco 49ers. And tonight's game is going to be the Tennessee Titans against the Baltimore Ravens. Minnesota Vikings and the Tennessee Titans had a pretty rough path to get here. Titans had to win a last-second wild card spot, which really they shouldn't even be in the playoffs with 9-7 record. Minnesota against San Fran. We're going to start off with Minnesota's coming in at 10-6 record, 4-4 away. They're on a one-game win streak after upsetting the Saints, where they were getting 8 points. Today against San Francisco, they're going to be getting 7 points. It's not a lot of points, but it is a full touchdown in a playoff game. I don't think you can really give up that many points and expect to take the favorite, especially in the divisional round. The San Francisco 49ers are coming in at a 13-3 record, 6-2 at home. They're also on a 2-game win streak, and at one point in time, they were the number 1 offensive team in the league. A lot of people expected them to have a cakewalk. Running through a tough division, they, of course, ran into some upsets, playing against the Seattle Seahawks and Arizona Cardinals and the St. Louis Rams. It's a pretty tough every week matchup. Now, the Tennessee Titans are going into Baltimore looking to do what some would say is the unthinkable, see if they can knock off not only the Patriots, but the Baltimore Ravens as well. The Baltimore Ravens are coming in at an astounding 10-point opening line. It's currently at just 9.5. The Ravens are 14-2, 7-1 at home. 2 back-to-back losses against the Chiefs and the Browns are the only marks on these guys' record. Other than that, they've played flawless football. Tennessee Titans, on the other hand, Derrick Henry led them to a rushing title this year. He's been carrying them every win so far, and is the main contributing factor to their 2-game win streak, along with Ryan Tannehill's unusually good play. Now, everybody knows Lamar Jackson is probably the front runner for this MVP this year, but that doesn't mean that he's front runner to win this Super Bowl. Baltimore Ravens are a very beatable team, and when it comes to betting, the opening 10-point line says a lot. I do look for them to cover that line. I am going to take the Baltimore Ravens tonight to probably win by 20 points. I don't think Tennessee is even in their category. I don't think they really have a chance, but the Ravens are facing some injuries, so you have to take that into consideration when you're making these decisions. But I think that the way Lamar Jackson's played, it won't be hard for him to cover that 10-point spread. Tomorrow's games, we got the Houston Texans against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are sitting at home with a 12-4 record, 5-3 at home. 6-game win streak, going to come in and be giving up the full 9 points. Not the full touchdown, but the 9 points, which is way more than anybody would expect them to be giving to a competitive Houston Texans team in the divisional round. Granted, both teams have been dealing with their share of injuries. I think that with the 9-point favorite, we're going to have to take Deshaun Watson in those points. Deshaun Watson he's just a superstar. He shows up for games like this. He doesn't like the doubters to win, and of course they're going to be doubting him. The 9 point says that. The second game for Sunday night is the Seattle Seahawks against the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers are coming in on a 5-game win streak, 13-3 record, 7-1 at home. Played unusually well, without a lot of talent. You can't knock Aaron Rodgers for carrying this team. But the line opened up at 3.5 and has now moved to 4.5. So that's telling you that a lot of people are not only taking Green Bay, but they're saying that Green Bay is going to cover that spread, which is way more, a full point more than just a field goal. I never count out Russell Wilson. They played great on the road. The Seattle Seahawks are coming in with a 7-1 away record with their 11-5 overall record. So I'm going to take those points. It's more than a field goal. If Green Bay can somehow pull it out, I would imagine that it's just going to be by a field goal. So for our divisional round picks, we're going to take Minnesota plus the 7 points on the road. We're going to take Baltimore to cover the full 10. The Houston Texans are going to cover that 9. And then we're going to take the Seattle Seahawks on the road in Lambeau to cover that 3.5, which is moved to a 4.5 points. So there's all your little tips and tricks to get you guys started. Those are picks coming from the pros. Last week, unfortunately, with the 2 upsets, we were only 50% out of the 4 games. This week, I'm predicting to do 100%. So before we wrap that up, we're going to run you guys down some injuries. Just something to clue you into, give you a little advantage when you're making your picks. We're going to start with Baltimore. They're going to be missing their starting tight end, Mark Andrews, and Mark Ingram. They're both questionable, but their injuries are going to make them to the point where I'd rather not see them on the field if they're going to hurt the team. So I don't think you're going to see a lot of them, or you're going to see limited play. Now, the Houston Texans are missing Jaleel Day, their starting safety, and most of their wide receivers. Will Fuller and Kenny Stills are out, as well as J.J. Watt, who tried to come back and couldn't get it done. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to be questionable with Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, their defensive tackle, has got a calf injury, and Patrick Mahomes is still recovering from that knee injury that he had, so he's listed as day-to-day. When we look at the Minnesota Vikings, they're going to be without Mackenzie Alexander. Dalvin Cook is listed as out, even though he played against the Saints and looked really well. But Adam Thielen's going to be questionable with an ankle injury. So whether they play or not, it's up to the coaching staff. How they perform is going to be based on these injuries. The 49ers are going to be without Dee Ford. He's questionable with a quad injury. Quad Alexander is on the injured reserve with his torn pectoral injury he suffered last week. Now the Seahawks are coming in missing most of their starting roster. Of course, they've been without tackles, tight ends, and running backs for weeks now. But Ezekiel Ansah went down last week. He's going to be questionable with a neck injury. And then we got the Tennessee Titans. Jaylen Brown's out. He's starting linebacker. Cody Hollister and Adam Humphries are going to be out, so they're going to be missing a few wide receivers. And I look for that to slow them down dramatically when they're going to be limited to just having Derrick Henry perform in the offense. So just a little peace of mind to get you started on your picks. Make sure you look for the first to score picks. Like I always say, take 2 running backs, a scrambling quarterback, and a wide receiver or tight end. And make sure you guys stay away from those half-point cards. Try to go through the line and get your bets put in individually so that you can make all your decisions yourself. So thank you guys for tuning back in. We're going to catch back up with you after this weekend to see how our stats lined up. We'll probably have a couple guests on tomorrow, so we'll look for a recording coming out here pretty soon. Thank you guys for tuning in. Overtime Live.